All right, welcome to the very first Rewards Master live session. I was scheduled for 6 o'clock, but had a little technical difficulty. So hopefully I'm ready to go now. So if you would send a little, if you're here, it shows that there's one or two people in already. Just kind of say a little howdy so I know who's here. And we'll dive into some of our topics. If you have any questions or comments, then let me know and I'll try to address those as well. All right, some of the things I wanted to talk about today, I've got a kind of a long list of topics. Pop-up jail, currently in pop-up jail problems and trying to figure out what my strategy needs to be going forward with me and my player two. The second thing is upcoming trips and redemptions. If you pay attention to my channel at all, you know that my travel style is we use most of our points, transferable points, and also airline points, and save them up for kind of big time redemptions to get business class, first class type trips. And so we don't really use the philosophy that is pretty common. And it's just, everybody, different strokes for different folks. Everybody has different ways of managing this hobby. But some folks want to just kind of spend all of their points and you basically have no travel expenses at all. So they'll use them for lower level point redemptions, 1 cent per point, 1 1/4, 1.5 cents per point. And some of us, though, we like to get the outsized value. So I'm trying for 3 cents, 4 cents, 5 cents, and sometimes I get upwards of 9. I have one redemption that I recently got for 16 cents per point. So that's what I saved mine for. So we're going to talk about that just a little bit. Um, I'm going to talk about what the Citibank and the Barclays merger of their American Airlines cards, what that's going to look like. I don't know for sure, but I have cards along with my player two from both of those issuers. Citi's kind of my number one issuer, and I love their ecosystem. I have a bunch of their cards and really use it to maximize kind of my everyday spend. And I'm wondering what's going to happen with our Aviator Red card from Barclays when we finally get that merger through. So that'll be kind of an interesting thing to find out. Uh, we're also going to look at Capital One and just kind of talk about some of their approval process, because I think that's just really crazy, the kind of approval process that they've got to have. I can't figure it out. And it seems like they don't want the very best credit card customers, but maybe it's because they define best credit card customers in a different way than others do. So I don't know how that really shakes out, and I don't really understand their logic on it. And so I'd love to hear some of your feedback and opinions on that as well. And then I guess that's kind of the list of things that I wanted to address. So, like I said, if you're tuning in and you want to just drop a little note to let me know you're here, I'd appreciate that. If you have any questions, comments as we go along, then just go ahead and put those in. Okay, pop-up jail. This is kind of the first thing on my list to talk about. And it seems like I am kind of a frequent offender with American Express. I am in and out of pop-up jail. So sometimes I'm plugging along doing good and they'll give me 2 or 3 cards in a row. And then I can't get anything. I mean, it seems like that's probably the same for a lot of people because they complain about it. And I don't know that anybody knows what the exact formula is for that. I've heard a lot of things about, well, if you spend more on your cards, then maybe that'll, help. So maybe that's what it is. Rodrigo Mendez, howdy. Good to catch a live. What got you into the credit card YouTube? Well, we'll come back to the pop-up jail in a second, and I'll answer that question. So I've traveled for work for many, many years, and I, racked up a lot of miles. For years, I flew with United. Then I went and kind of switched over to Delta, and then now I'm with American and Delta. I'm a platinum level flyer with Delta, and I'm a platinum pro with American. And so I fly probably, when they used to measure it by miles, it was about 60 or 70,000 miles a year. And now it's not measured that way, but I probably fly 16 to 20 flights domestically a year for work. And so in that, I kind of racked up my miles, and initially, maybe 8, 10 years ago, I was using them for just kind of redemptions. Maybe I'd fly my kids somewhere, or we'd go on a little flight within the States. And then a few years ago, particularly during COVID, I really started to up my game because I didn't, I was working from home like everybody was and watching a lot of YouTube videos, and really started to dive into kind of the more advanced card strategies. And so for the last few years, we've been taking just the really good redemption type of trips. We've flown Turkish business class, we've flown Iberia business class, British Airways, United. We've got flights on Etihad and Qatar coming up, and I get real excited to be able to do something that I would never spend my own money for. So that's kind of what got me excited about it. And I thought, well, I've got some different strategies than some other folks, and so maybe I've got something to contribute. So, Rodrigo, that's kind of what got me into this game. So, uh, that I hope that answers your question. But getting back to, and if you have any more comments or questions, let me know. But getting back to pop up jail, I mean, I just can't seem to get out. I'm out and then I'm in, and I don't know what the deal is because it seems like I'm still spending on my cards. And so I really wanted to get an outsized bonus on the American Express Platinum. I've never had the Platinum, so the family language doesn't apply. But probably 4 times I've tried and I get the pop up. So my player two, she's not ever had the Platinum either. So I decided, well, let's try it for her. She's getting the pop up too. So what we're looking at on that is she has the gold card. We don't really use the gold card for dining or groceries like a lot of people do, because I have a City Prestige I use for dining. It gives me 5.5 because of the Rewards Plus card I have along with it. And on groceries, that's just a whole nother thing. We shop at Walmart, so none of it works there. So it's like, what are we going to do on our gold card? Well, they have an upgrade offer of 75,000 membership reward points if you spend, I think it's $4,000 in 6 months. And so I'm thinking about doing that with player two, but here's the deal. I'm going to miss out on the big offer. You can get, I think right now, 150,000 membership rewards points. So I don't know, as far as that goes, I don't know if that's smart, but we're not getting any points if we sit in pop up jail and can't ever get the card. So if anybody has any suggestions of what to do and what would be the best course of action, if I do the upgrade to get the 75,000 points, then I'll probably just go into an upgrade downgrade mode. I know Sledge on his channel talks about that. Some other creators do, that you can get into an upgrade downgrade pattern where you're upgrading to get a bonus. And then when it hits a year, you downgrade again, and then you get another upgrade offer. We're trying to do that with our American Express business cards, business gold, business platinum right now. And we're going to see how that works. But if anybody's had any experience with that upgrade downgrade thing, just let me know. I'd be curious how that's worked out for you. So that's kind of where I'm at on the American Express, the pop-up jail thing. I've tried to figure out exactly what their metric is that keeps people in or keeps people out. They like people to spend, so you spend, and it still doesn't always work. And sometimes you can do an incognito browser and that helps, and sometimes it doesn't. And then sometimes you can use a mailer offer and that might help. I don't know, but I've tried all those things, and it just seems like it's almost like you're rolling dice or you're just spinning a roulette wheel to figure it out. So anybody has any comments on that or ideas, I'd be sure curious what you think. All right. Still trying to figure this thing out. Rodrigo says, I've never heard of anyone spending their way out of pop up jail. I put a good amount of spending on my personal platinum and no luck. Got to figure the algorithm works differently. Well, that's what I'm saying. I've kind of had that same experience. I put more on my Blue Business Plus probably, but I do, to try to get out of it, I put some spend on it. And I've even seen people suggest, well, you just need to put a few $100s on the card. Well, that does not work for me. So I don't know. But then it seems like, because when I was in it before, then it seems like just one day, boom, you're out. So I don't know. I don't know how that's supposed to work. RC says, and RC is a Rewards Master Insider. That's a new channel membership that I just started. It's $2.99 a month. And that is, you can cancel that at any time. That comes with several things. It comes with, I'm going to do weekly insider only videos just for members. I'm also going to do, because I like big time redemptions, and one of my hobbies, I love to search for great deals on big redemptions. So I'm going to be posting periodic videos just for members only, where I talk about a destination and a month. Like the one that's going to be dropping tomorrow will be for London in April from the United States. And I just tell some of the best redemptions that I found that might be helpful. And I'm putting out polls for members only, where I can put on the poll some different destinations and some different months, and you can kind of tell me where you'd like to go also. And then that'll be based upon what I research and the videos I do in the future. And then also my videos drop a day early for all members. So that's in the description if you're interested in becoming a Rewards Master Insider. RC says, what card do you recommend for vet bills? Oh man. Well, I mean, I think, if I'm not wrong, that Wells Fargo Attune card gives 4x on vet bills. Somebody tell me if I'm right about that, but because I don't have any Wells Fargo cards except the Built card right now. But from what I've seen, I think it's got a lot of quirky, odd categories. And I think that's one of them, that it works for pet care, I think is what it's called. So that would be the one that would be the best of the best. And it's a no annual fee card. If you have like the Journey card or the other autograph card, you can move the points back and forth, and you can use them for transfer partners and all of that. So the Wells Fargo Attune I would guess, is the best one. Let me know if anybody's got a better suggestion on that. Thanks for that question, RC. Okay, upcoming trips and redemptions. As I said, I'm big into kind of the getting a great cent per point value. We kind of do our travel where we budget to be able to spend on the cheaper stuff, like the domestic redemptions, and some of that's for work for us anyway, and cheaper hotels. So we try to just use our points, whether it's our transferables, American Express or Citi, Wells Fargo, any of those. We try to save them up to transfer them to partners to get outsized value. So some of the ones we have coming up, and I'd be curious if you've got any great redemptions coming up, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear about that. But some of the ones we have coming up is we're going to be traveling over in premium economy. And we've only flown premium economy one time, but I've been upgraded a ton to first class in the US. And domestic first class seems like almost the same thing. And when we flew on United, got upgraded to United with plus points to their premium economy over to, I think we were going to Portugal at the time. It seemed just like domestic first class. So that's kind of that's kind of the minimum that we want to do on our big redemption. So we are flying premium economy on Virgin over to Europe coming up. And then we've got a premium economy back on Air France. So if anybody's flown on either of those, I'd love to hear your opinions of Virgin and Air France premium economy. And then later, we're going to be flying from the US to Abu Dhabi and want to really see that. And, there's some great things there. Ferrari World. I think there also has a Warner Brothers World. We're excited about those. Then we're going to go over to Dubai. It's like a hour taxi ride. And then from there, we're flying that in Etihad business class. And then we're flying up to Europe for a few days in Qatar. It's not Q Suites. I really tried for Q Suites, but I couldn't find a flight that was Q Suites. So those are kind of some of our redemptions coming up. RC says, super excited about the redemption series for members only. Well, I'm glad you are. It's I just like to check and look and find great values. That's kind of what this game is about to me. That's where the hobby really is, to me, just so awesome. So that's what I'm going to provide for members. Hopefully it'll be helpful. Make sure, RC, since you're a RM Insider, that you fill out the polls every time I put them up, so I know what are some places that folks are wanting to go and what month they're wanting to go. That'd be great. Rodrigo Says, one question I did have is, what are your thoughts on the United Premium card versus the AA Executive card? I'm torn between the two cards. I value AA miles a lot, but my home airport is a United hub. Well, I don't know if this will be a popular opinion, but I flew out of Detroit for years and I was a United status holder. I think I was gold status at the time. And I could have switched to Delta and they would have done a status match, but I didn't. And the reason I didn't is if I had flown with Delta, because Detroit is a Delta hub, then I would have never gotten an upgrade ever. But I got an upgrade as a gold level, and that's only second from the bottom. It starts at silver, goes to gold, goes to platinum, goes to 1K. And as a gold member, over 50% of the time, I'd say maybe 60 to 70% of the time, I got to fly out of there and I got an upgrade. Now I had a layover. It was very seldom, unless I was going to Houston or Denver or one of United's hubs, that I would, not have a layover. But it was still pretty awesome to be upgraded. What I also loved about that is that the United Club gave me access there to the Lufthansa Club. That was the only club that would work with Star Alliance, and it gave me access to it. So I had a club there, and I flew there, even though it's a Delta hub all the way. So I'm kind of a little different view on this. I sometimes think it's better to fly an airline that is not the hub airline out of your hub, because if you care, I mean, you got to kind of balance it out. Do I care more about, do I want to get to my destination faster and never want to layover, or do I really want to have potential for those upgrades? So that's kind of my view on that. But when it comes to the United Club card, I've had that card. I had it for years. And then I also now have the executive card with American Airlines, and I like the executive card better. Now, I'm not saying I like Admirals Clubs better than United Clubs. Some of them are better, some of them aren't. Neither one of them are the best. Deltas are better all the way. But I will say I really love that you get some credits back. And I'm sorry, but United's system on helping you get to status, with the American, you get 1 point, one loyalty point for every dollar you spend. On the United Club card, they also require flights with it, and they have caps on their cards with United. And the American card, you get back some credits. Like I always use the Avis credit, get $120 for that. I use the Grubhub credit every month. The United card, I mean, you get some benefits with IHG and some of that, but it's harder to make up as much of that annual fee. But the American card, the big boost is you get 10,000 bonus loyalty points at 10,000, excuse me, at 50,000 points and at 90,000 points. So it reduces reaching loyalty. And I think that is a phenomenal, phenomenal benefit. So having had them both, that's my answer, Rodrigo. All right. They hate me. Should Citi follow through with active premium card? What do you think they will do with the Prestige? Well, I have the Citi Prestige card and I love it. In fact, I think that it's probably, I don't know, it's between that and the Venture X, but the Citi Prestige is the best card in my wallet in a lot of ways. I mean, 5X on groceries, excuse me, not groceries, dining, and 5X on flights. So I know some people say, well, they don't have travel protections. I've never needed travel protections. I got enough points to kind of self-insure. So you may worry about that, and that's fine. And it makes sense to me. But for me, I just don't worry about it. And I buy a lot of flights with it to get 5X. And I also use the dining credit. And I also will get the hotel credits twice a year. You get 2 fourth night free hotels if you book through their portal. And I use that almost every year. So that card, I mean, the way I figure it pays for itself, and it's awesome. Where else are you going to get 5X? Even the gold card with American Express doesn't get that much. So I don't know what they're going to do. I'm afraid, to be honest, because maybe Citi will leave the Prestige card grandfathered in and just leave it like it is. They tend to do that. But wow, I'm kind of afraid that they're going to make me, if they come out with a new top level card, that they'll make me switch. What are they going to call it? Strata Elite or something like that. I don't remember what they said. But if they do that, that'll be a bummer to me, because unless it's kind of a carbon copy of the Prestige card, but I don't know that it will be. So I'm kind of crossing my fingers and waiting to see what happens with that, and just hoping that either it's the same kind of card or maybe even a little better, and I can switch to it, or maybe they'll just let me keep my Prestige card. I don't know. They hate me. What do you think about that? Do you have any ideas? All right. We've got 6 in the room right now. I guess that's all right for a very first one. All right. We were talking about upcoming redemptions, and we just kind of breached the topic of city. And really, what I wanted to focus on with that topic is the city American Airlines cards and the Barclays card. So like I said, I have the Executive City card. I really love that card. We have had like the City Platinum American Airlines card, but my player two now has the Aviator card, and that's pretty new. It has a smoking awesome bonus. I mean, I don't know that anybody has a better bonus than the Aviator card, because wow, it's one purchase, and if you apply through the pamphlets on the airplane, 70,000 points, and American Airlines miles are really valuable. 70,000 miles with just one purchase. So we did that, got the miles. It's a interesting card. It's got the sense thing. I forget exactly what it's called. I might have had it written down here. Flight Sense. That's what it is. It has the Flight Sense deal where it rounds up. You can tell it if you want it to and how much you want it, what the threshold you want it to be, but it rounds up your purchases. And then you end up, they sell you American Airlines miles at basically 2 cents a point. And if you're going by like the points guy's valuation, that's not a good deal, because he says American Airlines miles are worth like 1.7, which is still more than the other airlines. But for me, I've done my evaluation. And so since I don't use it for bad value, I'm always getting 3, 4, 5 cents per point. So I do that. I mean, we round it up and we get extra points, and we end up buying them for like 2 cents a point. Well, I hope that City, if they take it over, I hope they don't just make us take like one of their platinum AA cards, but rather they kind of move that card into their ecosystem and keep it kind of the same. But I'm not sure they're going to do that. Okay. Uh, Rodrigo says, I'm not excited about AA going all in on City. Hard for me to see them not devaluing their miles, plus less opportunity to churn between Barclays and City. Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. I know everybody's excited about, well, yeah, City may be getting American as a transfer partner, and I'm kind of hoping they don't, because I've found ways to earn. You can earn a lot of American Airlines miles if you're just creative about it. Even though there's no transfer partner, even Bilt's out of it now. Used to, you could, for a while, you could transfer Bilt over to American Airlines, but man, it is, if you can find ways to get those miles, they're crazy good. I mean, those Qatar Q suites, you can get them depending on where you're going and where from. I think from the United States, you can get them like 70,000. But if you're flying like from Asia to Africa, or parts of Western Asia to Eastern Asia, you can sometimes get Q suites for like 42,500 American miles. That is crazy good value. I mean, you're well over 10 cents per point in value on that. Their points, and even on domestic flights, their points are just awesome. They're better than everybody else. But you're right, Rodrigo. I really believe that if you start being able to rack up, because City lets you rack up a ton of City points. I mean, a ton. And if you're using the Strata card, and then you're using the rewards card that gets 5x on one category, and you're using all those together, you could rack up so many points. I promise you, at least I feel that American will devalue their points. So I'm kind of holding my breath that even though all the cards are moving over to City, they won't be able to find an agreement. It seems like, and I don't know why Bilt lost them and nobody else has them, but American may charge a lot for their miles. Maybe that's what it is. And maybe it'll be too much for City to swallow. It has been in the past. So maybe that'll continue. That's kind of what I hope, because if you can get a lot of, you've used the the American Airlines hotel portal, you can get a ton of miles. If you use their shopping portal, you can get a ton. Simply Miles, you can get a ton. So there's a lot of great ways to do that. Thank you, Rodrigo, for that question. All right. Capital One. I wanted to discuss this a little bit because another one that's hard to get. I mentioned being in pop-up jail, and certainly, yeah, I don't know how that works, and I try to figure it out. But when it comes to Capital One, it's beyond pop-up jail. It's like you're pop-up buried, and I don't know any other way to say it except that they absolutely do not like me. I go through their pre-approval tool sometimes because I'd like to get the bonus on the Venture X and maybe downgrade it to a Venture One or something. But we have a Venture X and I'm an authorized user, so we don't need two. But I can't get it. I mean, in fact, even though I've got a high credit score, and even though I've been in this game a long, long time, and there's just I always pay off everything every single month, I the pre-approval tool will only approve me for secured cards. Secured cards. Anybody else ever have that experience? I mean, secured cards? I mean, you can have a high 700s, low 800s credit score. You can never have made a late payment, and they do not seem to want people who are advanced in this game. And I don't know what it is. I've heard people say that they kind of like to be a subprime lender, but the thing is people who don't have good credit get kind of denied for the Capital One Venture X. So what is their, I mean, where is their demographic here? People with high credit who carry balances? Well, I guess there's such a thing out there, but that seems like a very narrow customer pool for them to be looking at. So be curious what you think about that. They hate me. He just kind of sent some emojis of laughing and crying about, I guess, about the fact that Capital One wants me to have a secured card. That's just crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. Well, that kind of wraps up the things that I wanted to discuss. And we've had a few in here. We got 8 signed in right now. Any other comments or questions anybody had? Kind of use this as an ask me anything. I'll mention again the channel membership. Just started that. If you would, please hit the like. And if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I'm marching towards the coveted 1,000 subscriber mark. And I think I have 680 as of today. So that would help me out a lot, and especially if you like the video as well. All right. Well, okay. Kay says, good evening. Capital One wouldn't approve me for anything above the venture. I started throwing my property tax in there for about 2 to 3 months, and now it shows in the pre-approval. Okay, so thank you, Kay. So maybe it's a spending thing, but that's what's really weird to me, because on our Venture X, we spend on it, and they still. I mean, I guess since I'm an authorized user on it, maybe they don't want to give another one to the household. I know they have a 2-card limit, so I'm not sure what their logic is or thinking on that. So I don't know. But yeah, that sounds like that strategy worked well for you. So spending more. I guess that, just people say that works on American Express. Maybe it works on Capital One too. But I mean, what am I supposed to do? Get a secured card, spend on it to try to move up in their ecosystem? I think that's a little far down to go, so. All right. Well, we have 8 tuned in right now. Don't have any other topics on my list. Kind of burned through them quick. As I said before, sorry I got started a little late. Had a few technical difficulties being the first time, but I think I'll be able to figure it out for future live streams. So I want to say how much I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. And those of you, we got 9 in there now and 5 likes. And so if you haven't hit subscribe or like this, I'd appreciate it if you do. And again, I mentioned channel memberships, drop unique videos every week just for members, do point redemption videos on great point redemptions, and you get to help decide where those are going to be determined for and what month. And so, and then all the videos drop there a day early from this day forward. So, all right. Well, I'm going to, I guess, sign off. We don't have any other comments. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you here next time.